And welcome back to Pints and Pals. I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me this evening is Mike. Say hello, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Oh, yeah, so we had a technical difficulty earlier, so we're going to pretend to crack open the cans of beer of Asheville or AVL IPA from Highland Brewery, which is a good brewery to go to. It's very small. It's not big. It's been around since 1994, which is pretty cool. I can't remember where it's located in Nashville. It's kind of like off the beaten path a little bit. But just for brevity, I'm going to crack open the bottle and fill up our cups. All right, so the initial sniff gives us not horrible, kind of sweet, slight citrus.
It's got a peppery note, I think, to it.
I'm gonna taste this off.
No, on the smell, I feel like I can smell it, but I dumped a lot of the, I quick poured it because when we popped it open, it started to explode basically. Yeah. So basically, it's like when your beer gets overcarbonated, essentially, it will. Whenever you let it out, it's like if somebody like hit the bottom of your beer, where it like creates a pocket of air. Yeah, probably air at this point, and then it lets all the carbonation kind of flow out. So I had to pour it quick. You could see from like the lacing on my glass, I was close to disaster. Which is it's a good. The lacing is good, but I wanted to. I don't know if it was this one or not. Yeah. So the lacing is good, and the grist that they use. Carapils and flaked wheat. So I'm like, only...
I'm sure I think there's more to it.
No, like,
I guess we should back up a second. So this is our second take. So it's a 6.5 ABV and 70 IBUs before we get into the grist. Yeah, so the grist from on the website doesn't make any sense. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, because carapils, you usually add just a little bit of it to try and get head retention. So I'm like, I can see that based on the... thing, but you would never use that as your base malt. So they don't really say what the base malt is.
No, and then the flake wheat would be like the mouthfeel, maybe some of the how cloudy is, the hazy that it has to it. But Mike had to ask me what Indian or IPA actually stood for. So it stands for Indian Pale Ale. So the history goes back when England owned India back in the 18th, 19th century, they would ship beer from the UK or England all the way to India by boat. So it would take a long time to get there. Well, the beer would arrive before the style was a bit just bad or off or whatever. So they added a bunch of hops into it. And so what the hops did, besides adding like the bitterness and hoppy characteristics to it, also actually it was like a natural preserver. The thing is, like some historians, from what I've read, not sure how high the IBUs were. Right, so they could be 120 IBUs, they could have been 60. All they know was just really, really heavily hopped to make that long voyage. I forgot how long it took them, let's say a month or two to get to India from England. So yeah, that's where the name comes from. That's why it's called the style. What we're drinking is the West Coast style, so it's slightly different than what was invented back in the 18th, 19th century. West Coast styles are usually piney, grapefruity. Some people call it dank. Some people call it skunk. Some say it tastes like weed. This doesn't really have a lot of those characteristics.
I think maybe the peppery might have been pine. A little bit of a pine taste.
I do get like a citrus rainy kind of flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
like
as bad as grapefruit, but something close to grapefruit. Grapefruit. Gosh, can't talk.
Yeah, it kind of tastes like lemon zest.
Yeah, I could see that. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this was brewed almost a year ago, on April 24th, 2024. So hopefully those preservatives in the hops really kind of work, because I feel like potentially that could have caused the or maybe why it's a little bit muted, I feel.
Great.
But yeah, it's not
well carbonated, though.
Yeah, it's not my favorite style, but I've had worse. That's for sure.
Yeah. So based on just the style alone, I'd probably give this. I'm gonna say a 3. I think it's a threer. I'm gonna say that with like air quotes. I wouldn't buy this again. But for what it is, I think a 3 is a pretty good standing for taste, texture, smell. Like I said, to me, it just does feel like a true West Coast IPA. Because I mean, a lot of them are actually pretty crystal clear for that I've had too. This is hazy, but I mean, the nose is great. Like it smells delicious.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to go a little bit lower just because I'm not a huge fan of IPAs. V, it's not really a West Coast IPA, and L.
And what about L?
Yeah. But I'm going to go with a 2.8. It's not something I don't think I think you could, if you like IPAs in general, it's probably,
give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably worth trying. I don't, if you're looking for a West Coast IPA, I would say probably skip this one based on what Jeremy's saying.
I think Dogfish has one that's a lot of people seem to gravitate towards. I think theirs is like a 90 and a 120 IBU. If you really like that kind of stuff. Again, it's not my forte. Like I talk about, like I'm not a big fan of sours. Like I like a tart. I get on board a tart, but like a true sour, I can't do that. The bad thing about finding this beer is be very limited too because they don't distribute. They're not sold out. They're independent. So if you're not in North Carolina, parts of Tennessee, Virginia, South Carolina, you may not be able to find it very, very easily. But if you can get a hold of it somehow, I would definitely try any other beers. I mean, you don't have to try this one alone, but any other beers.
Yeah. Yep. Looking through the hops list that they have on their website, it reminded me, not these ones specifically, but I was looking at Kona Big Wave or something like that. It's it's like an ale, but they use the hops that they use make it taste like an IPA. It's very confusing. I had some the other day because I had sent you a thing on like the big Kelowna. It was like a cologne of Big Kahuna.
Right.
And I thought it would be good until I like had it again. It might be Apollo. I can't remember.
Apollo is actually, I just looked it up. The alpha acids on it's like between 15 and 20%, so that's pretty high right off the bat.
Yeah. On a big wave. Yay, my I just wanted to see because I was like surprised at the bitterness of it.
Oh, Tracy, what the IBUs is for it?
Yeah. I just wish that websites wouldn't consistently try and grab your like location data, and then like cookies. Yeah, I'd like to do Kona. It's only 16 IBUs, it says. So maybe it isn't as hoppy as I was thinking. Unless they were,
it could just be the hop
could've,
notes though too.
Yeah,
That you're picking up. Because like we've had beers before that were like 70 IBUs or whatever, but the grist bill was so big that you needed the higher IBU to calm down all that maltiness and sweetness and stuff like that to make it more palatable for the general public.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing we've learned throughout these episodes. This is season 5. We're pretty close to wrapping this season up. Like, we have learned over these multiple seasons that you can't always trust what the IBUs say as like pure bitterness. Because we're not sure how strong the original grain build was, to begin with, so, but it kind of gives you an idea, like, if it's at like 70 IBUs, which is a lot, but you can just imagine how sweet it was to begin with, like how much residual sugar was there. You're like, holy crap, that was a syrup, but it was something really strong for sure. So
yeah, 6.5 ABV. I don't feel like it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's kind of scary crushable. Like
yes.
if you did like it, it would be easy to drink multiples of these and be like, whoopsies.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess to be honest, I don't think I'll actually finish this one.
Yeah. Well, it leaves like a real bitterness on like the back of my throat. That
Almost
I'm
like a
just
burny sensation.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not comfortable. Nope, not a
Yeah. Like when
comfort. Just
if you take a big gulp of it, I think it's um it's good. Like it tastes like I feel like
first,
all the
yeah,
flavors are
the
there.
initial, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then like after I'm done and like talking, it's like I don't know, it's like a weird like fake sugar like aspartame like bitterness or
Yeah, it's
something.
not
And
good.
I'm just
Mm-hmm.
it's just not doing it for me.
No, I totally agree with that. I did put up a little recipe for like just a West Coast IPA. Nothing too difficult.
You're not going to do 11 pounds of Carapils, are you?
No,
I wonder what that would just be like a foamy mess.
probably. I'm just going to use one hop in this. I'm going to change something up real quick and make it super simple. So this would so the grist or grain bill, whatever you want to call it, has 11 pounds of two row malt in it. 1 pound of crystal 20. Again, just add a little bit of flavor, color. 1 pound of carapils, so not too far off from what they're using. I'm not going to use any flake wheat, so this should be more of a clear beer overall. For the 60 minutes, I'll use 2 ounces of Centennial hops to give a lot of like the initial bitterness just right off the bat. Flame out, I'll throw another ounce and a half of Centennial hops, and then with dry hop, with another 2 ounces of Centennial hops. Probably do that for like 3 to 5 days, just probably more 5 days, I would say. And then the yeast I would use a California L yeast, which seems to be pretty popular for the West Coast style. It's made by White Labs. It's a WLP001. Don't get it confused with 007 because we don't have that yeast. Um, and this one ferments a little bit warmer, between 68 and 73 degrees. So I would probably push. I'd shoot for the middle, 70, 71, somewhere around there.
Is that what you try and
to weigh
always
that.
do for like
Yeah, I always try to shoot for the
unless
middle. Always. I haven't brewed as much as I wanted to this year. I've not done as much experiments as I wanted to this year because I wanted to take. Actually, I don't have the vessels, but if I had the vessels to do so, what I like to do is build a 5 gallon batch of beer, have 1.5 gallon fermenters or whatever, and then um, try different temperatures. So like, if the range is like 68 to 73, that's not exactly 5, but it's close enough to a 68, 69, 77, 1, blah, blah, blah. And just to see what changes with just a 1 degree difference. But then the ink birds are always plus or minus a degree or two anyway, so you get that weird
mine is
fluctuation.
really bad.
Yours real bad. Mine's at least 2 degrees. I've noticed that the most.
It's like kicking on and kicking off so much that it makes me nervous. But I was messing around with it, and I had well, like you could see like over the course of a day, it's like bouncing up and down like 4 degrees. So it goes from 36 Celsius? Down to 27. No, in Fahrenheit. So it's like 36 degrees and it kicks on and then it drops it almost immediately to like 26 degrees. So I don't know if I need to go check to see where the thermometer is, but actually I think it's just like floating in the air, but it still shouldn't be. I don't know. It's
kind of crazy. Yeah, I think that would be a fun experiment. It's just time and equipment. I don't have either one of them. And I'm sure Brew Philosophy may have already done something similar to that. I don't recall that episode, but they've been around for, gosh, I think over a decade now. So maybe somewhere in their backlog they may have done it. Maybe I can look into it and see if they notice like a difference. Because some of those experiments, like, they get 13, 14 people trying the beers, and sometimes they don't see any difference in whatsoever. So, but yeah, that's the quick little bill I came up with. Again, I don't think I'd make this myself because I'm not a big fan of West Coast IPA, but I think this would be a very simple one to make because it's just one hop, so it wouldn't be hard to do. You could probably substitute the White Labs with some type of dry yeast that's really equivalent to it, just to save money because liquid is not cheap. Talking $13 on up, depending on the manufacturer where you get it at. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, that's what am worried about well, the industry in general, I guess, I'm worried about. But then like all these major corporations start buying up all these little not mom and pop so much, but like they're buying up like the basically industry. So it's just one conglomerate that owns like 10 of them. They're leaving all these small like brewers websites to look like they aren't this big giant group. Like I think the same people that own More Beer own the Adventures in Home Brewing that used to be around this area. There was a couple of locations that they just closed down and they got bought out, because it's like you could see when you click on it, like see where their warehouse is, and it's all from the same exact like Louisiana, or not Louisiana, North Carolina,
I think Arkansas now, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just there's just like one spot that's kind of centrally located. It's like they give you like a shipping thing, and they're all coming out of the same area, and I'm like, that's not where that used to be. But
yeah, a lot of them are shut down. Like we've lost so many like you said, we lost a lot of mom and pops over the years. So too, they just completely shut down, and breweries are shutting down left and right. But it was kind of a weird bubble, anyways. Like I feel like there was too many breweries in one location. Like I think Knoxville, last I heard, is like 20 plus breweries for the whole city, which Knoxville is a fairly decent sized town, but 20 breweries is still quite a bit for a town like. We lost a few here, but it was like in the Tri-Cities. So I'm counting three towns, three big towns of mine, and then plus all the surrounding communities and stuff like that. We've probably lost like 3 or 4 in the last few years. But again, it was just a lot of competition and not many people consuming, right?
Yeah, and I feel like they overdid the IPA. I still think that everybody that goes to them, not everybody, but a lot of people that go to microbreweries just think that the IPA is the best thing ever. And I'm like, I do feel like after experiencing the like everything that everybody talks about, an IPA is the most easily I think it's easily tainted, if that makes any sense. So you have to be very careful when you're making it. The oxygen introduced during like transfer and like bottling and any kind of like infection will really impact it. But I feel like you're not getting any of the subtleties of the beer by like just slamming it with hops. So it's like, okay, yes and no. It's like technical, but then like the flavor is just kind of, it's just super in your face, and like it's just not my style. Like if I wanted to eat a grapefruit, I would just bite into one.
Yeah, the style that Mike's referring to about the oxygen would be the New England IPA, which is very susceptible to oxygen. I mean, that will actually turn purple when if it gets exposed to too much oxygen itself. Which we've done a few. I think they're called NIPAs or something like that on this podcast over the years. But yeah, no, I agree. I feel like at least where I'm at, I feel like the IPA has slowed down quite a bit, and seltzers are definitely the hot ticket item. But again, I think that's just a regional thing. I'm not sure how it is up in Michigan, but at least around me, more and more people. Oh, and kombucha. Been seeing a lot of hard kombucha coming out, and like you have to like kombucha to like hard kombucha. So
do not care for that kombucha. Yucky, no thanks.
Kombucha.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably all she wrote for this one, because I don't want to finish this.
But that's about far as I got. Yeah. Just a quick announcement. We have set up X.com or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, page that's up and going right now. Granted, there's only a couple posts. I'm working on a program to do an auto scheduler, so I can just grab all the videos and all the headlines and just toss it into the auto scheduler and just put them all up until we get caught up with that. So we'd appreciate a follow there. That'd be really cool as well too. Build up that community. On that note, I'll let Mike do his outro.
Don't forget to have a pint with your pals.
Please drink responsibly. Join Discord, comment, like, subscribe. You know what to do. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.